My name's Ronnie Dowdy. I'm from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I've been in the reenacting since I was 16, so about 33 years. If this was an early 18th century homestead, the first greatest task was build something to get in out of the elements. Get away from the weather. At this time here, it would have been B, the Native American tribes that were in here that did not want anyone in here, period. If you were to stay and not move on, if you were to homestead this and build, you'd have, of course, maybe a smokehouse, something for food storage. Usually the barn was the biggest and nicest structure that was the first one built on the place. People, you can live off the land, live off a wild game. Well, that's not always the case. I mean, that gets kind of scarce in the winter, and you'd have of course, your hog pens, maybe some sheep if you had them, possibly chickens if you brought a few with you. And it would just be an ever evolving type of operation, because they would have then, once the barn was built, they had a nice barn, had a good structure to keep their some of their most prized possessions, which would be their stock. Then they would worry about themselves. Then that's where you would come in with your bigger, nicer house, then maybe a larger barn, maybe another stock barn or stock sheds. And it would just kind of grow as the need. I would think that they built as their needs arose. They just didn't go with the we'll build it and they will come kind of thing. They built as needed, because, that's a lot of work, to build something just with the promise of maybe we'll get some chicken someday. But usually they had them and then built for their needs as they went along. And, if their family expanded, they might even add on to their house. That was a common technique later in the early 1800s, to take an existing house proper or a nicer log house and slide and build another one onto the end of it and add on. And it was just, and you can see that even in old log houses that we tear down for renovation today. You can just see the evolution of this family or that family, or this family took it as they moved through. They all put their own little signature to the house. Maybe they needed more room, maybe they had more kids, maybe they needed a bigger kitchen, and it would just kind of expand like that. And I've been involved in several original cabin teardowns. There was one found in central Kentucky back in 2013, and we disassembled it after the landowners graciously gave it to us, because they were just going to burn it. And we took it down and then carried it to western Kentucky and reassembled it. I'm currently working on one that was called a 3-room log home or log house. It was had a parlor, great room, and then a hall upstairs. Big, huge chimney, 10-foot ceilings. And by the way, the height of your ceilings measured your social status and how much wealth you had. We haven't been able to trace it back yet to actually nail down the exact date. We think it was in the neighborhood of somewhere between 1820 and 1830. It shows some early construction techniques, and then that's one of the neater things. You see this on TV, that everybody just goes in, they take machines, just rip them down and go for a day, and they're in and out. Well, it's not quite that simple. It can be that simple, but if you take the time to stop and let the structure talk to you, you can see things and details that otherwise might be missed. This house had been renovated. It had what in our area, in the Middle Tennessee area, is commonly called a saddlebag log house. It's where they had the house proper, then they slid and built another log structure around the chimney, and they would tear into the back of the chimney to have a secondary fireplace, which is a common building technique. As the family expanded, they needed more room, they needed more square footage, it needed to be bigger, higher, longer, wider, and they just kept working on it. And you can see that in this house. You can see where they took out logs. They cut out logs to make doorways. They added windows where there weren't windows. They covered up windows that were originally there. And so you kind of have to take your time and see how the original, and let it tell you, give you the clues, of what the construction techniques were. And that's another thing, you can, if you pay attention, you can date it by some of the construction techniques. And one of the cool things that we found, most all of the professional builders left their mark on these houses. And we found a circle, it's probably 4 to 5 inches in diameter in the front on one of the logs with 6 or 7 sets of initials in it. And we checked those by the census records, and they matched no one in the area. So we're pretty sure that that was a professional crew that came through. And the house speaks of that. You can look at the upstairs floor joists. They're not just holes. They're not just hacked out. They're actually hand planed and hand beaded down the sides, which is a feature that was covered up by someone that just didn't like that. They wanted the bead board. So see, you can see how everybody puts their own little signature to a house. And when you start disassembling these old houses, especially old log houses, you learn as you go. I mean, you have to, you see things that are interesting little features to the house. And for myself, I try to go back and research those to see how far back these construction techniques were used. It's like the pages of a book. You turn this page and you see what this family did. You know the history of as far back as records you can find, and you know that these families lived there from these years to these years, and you see how they remodeled, that's what we would call it today, and it's basically what they did then to suit their growing needs and or family. They would add a room, or as I said before, they would remove logs in order to make room for closets or stairwells. And as the one that I'm currently working on, we were able to locate and date this to an exact style because we found where the old stairwell went. It's no longer there. It's been taken out, remodeled over, but there were little small clues. There was some ghosting in the floor where the actual stairwell was in the closet. Because they always had the stairs would go up, then turn to the left and go upstairs, and they would have a door there to shut off and keep the heat downstairs. And that space underneath that void, they utilized that as a closet. And on a particular one we were tearing down, we found mussel shell buttons, all types of clothing buttons where they had used that for clothing storage. And it's one of those things where you just, if you have the time to be able to take the time to listen to the structure and let it tell you its history, let it try to tell you as best it can, the stories. And and as the old saying goes, if those logs could talk, what stories could they tell about who lived there and how long it had, been built and progressed and who did what, and those would be the neat things to find out.